There's always a downside
Yeah.
to a dysfunction. As much as it could be functional, there's also a downside.
And one of the things that I've been really excited to talk about is anxiety, because I know a lot
You're
of people.
excited to talk about anxiety?
I think it could help. No,
is that an oxymoron?
One of the reasons I do this is because
I think that is an oxymoron, by the way.
I'm excited. I'm really excited. I think that's my anxiety talking.
Okay.
There's a lot of people who suffer from anxiety, and there's a lot of people that need help. Right?
Did you pronounce that correctly?
Anxiety?
I think you went right. You went.
Yeah.
You mumbled that word. Spit it out, Brian. Don't be nervous.
Oh my goodness, it's gonna be a long session. I was supposed to be 15, maybe less minutes, but I think it's gonna go for 20.
I'm giving you anxiety, so I actually can work it out.
This is good. This is good.
All right. So anxiety is this. So in terms of the work that I've done, it's not a therapeutic definition.
Yeah.
And I've put together. I mean, years ago, I really kind of got limited in my expression of this, and I arrested myself a little bit in doing any more of it. But I started a dictionary years ago of reinterpreting words to more performatives than definitions. So a performative is something that actually performs an action that's got transformational value, right?
Yeah.
So when you read it, it actually changes something in how you think and be, rather than you just are getting a definition. So that actually there was, more impact.
Well, and you've trained me in that in my corporate life, right? Because I go around and I reframe things all the time so they're performative.
Yeah.
Instead of just being static, like, we're here to understand this today. I'm like, no, we're here to have this, dialogue, explore these areas and outcomes, alignment in this, right? So more performing things rather than just definitions of things, right?
And describing something.
Yeah, describing something.
Yeah. So, we're of the same mind in that regard, right? So with regards to that, I wanted anxiety to be something that you could actually execute, right, and perform, right, as a performative. So anxiety, and I have a great deal of anxiety. Which I
would have never known.
I know.
Unless you talk about it.
Most people don't know that about me, right? The reason that it's not so obvious is. It's obvious to my family, for sure, right? But the reason that it's not so obvious is because I have a relationship with it. I have it, it doesn't have me. I don't wake up in the morning and go like, what is this? I'm not shocked by it. I know I have it. I know I wake up to it, right? And then I work with it and I create with it, rather than I'm trying to get rid of it or shouldn't have it.
Yeah.
And especially given what I do, like people go, well, you shouldn't have that. Really? What work are you doing? Freedom is the ability to actually accept what you have and what you don't have. Freedom is not just, having some sort of ideal.
Yeah.
I don't work on ideals. I work on actualities rather than ideals, and humanity rather than, promotion. That's good distinctions.
That is
right.
Good. Yeah.
So yeah. Amazing. I'm a genius.
Oh my God.
So I have to take a pause for myself.
Moment of silence.
So yes, right. So at any rate, anxiety is that you should have control over something you fundamentally don't. That's what anxiety translates to when I'm working with people. And if you knew you had complete control, you'd be some sort of sociopath, right?
Yeah.
And if you knew that you had no control, you might have some more freedom to let things go, right? But anxiety is that torque that, and that overlay of like your voiceover, that noise in your head says you should have a control over something you have no control over. And that's what gives people anxiety. And what you work on is like the ability to release the places you've got nothing to say about. Now, most people aren't speaking up about the places they've got something to say about. And so they're usually speaking up about places they've got nothing to say, and they're not speaking about where they've got something to say. It's a strange phenomenon, right?
Well, it's another core confusion, the control versus controlling.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. So that's what anxiety is. And so when I'm working with people on anxiety, it's a full acceptance that you're going to always have this. And you should find a relationship with it and a way to create with it and connect with it and love with it and be with it and contribute with it, rather than try and get rid of it or be upset about it, be in resistance to it. So that's one thing. And then depression It's not a therapeutic term as well. It's that time has passed you by and you can't catch up. So I look at like even when my daughter can't do her homework or she's not done her homework for 2 or 3 days, she then gets depressed. It's not a clinical depression. It means that, time has passed you by and you can't catch up and you feel, it's futile. So using those different, they're definitions on some level, but they're more performatives. They're more,
it's a way of looking at
it's a way of looking at something that you can actually change or impact. Right.
Well, it releases you in a way.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it gives you some level of release. I mean, one of the exercises I really liked in one of the groups we had was you asked the question, how does your anxiety, what does it manifest as? And some of the different things that people talked about was I can be impulsive, or I can be confused, or I'm productive, or I'm aggressive, or I'm overwhelmed. I have conflict, I'm rageful, I'm sick, I have fantasies, right? So there's all these different ways that anxiety can show up.
Yeah, it's not just one thing.
No, it doesn't just show up as like, there's anxiety.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It can come out in all these different ways.
Yeah, mine it's all about impulsivity.
Yeah,
so it's allowed me to do a lot of great things and take risks. And
mine's production.
Make a bunch of money and do all sorts of, cool things. It's also destroyed a lot.
Yeah.
That impulsivity has, damaged a lot and it's also produced a lot. So, but until recently, I've had no control over that. It's controlled me.
Well, mine's been production, and I produce a ton.
Yeah.
But then I abandon my relationships and I abandon my communications and everything else, and then it relieves. It creates all sorts of problems.
There's always a downside.
Yeah, it's a huge
to a dysfunction. As much as it could be functional, there's also a downside.
Well, and then a lot of times I put that on somebody else, which you talked about a lot, which is we put our psychology and our anxiety on other people.
Well, they deserve it. So there, it's like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you making me feel this way? Which is like you made me do this. You made me hit you.
And it feels so good too, I have to say.
Yeah, you made me yell at you. So, yeah.
When they're the most vulnerable is the best time to do it.
Oh, yes.
Okay, like when you totally catch them at their most vulnerable point is when you pounce. That's what I've learned.
Oh, yeah. So you understand the work. You're trying to understand the work really well.
And you've trained me.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
I've done really well.
Yeah.
But as soon as you make others responsible, you no longer have the ability.
Well, there's no transformation.
Yeah, there's no feeling.
And people don't realize you're just gonna get more and more stuck.
When I tell people that at work, and we just talk about practical problems, I'm like, why would you give the problem to someone else and then wait on them? Because now they're totally controlling the situation, controlling the outcomes. I mean, if you can do something about it, you should. Right? And it's almost like taking the responsibility on allows you to then interact with it, do something, move it, have a conversation about it.
Yeah, have an impact.
And have an impact,
yeah.
Right? So responsibility is not a bad thing. To have that responsibility for anxiety allows you to do something about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or your psychology. So you've told me a number of times to slow down, but I love that technique. So what do you, when people, I guess like myself, get really, really fast, like one of the things, Brian, slow down, and just to get people,
like this morning.
Yes, it was coffee.
Yeah, you need, see, that's no different than someone else did it to me.
Okay, I'm not.
So the coffee did it to you.
Yeah, so I'll take responsibility.
Oh, man.
I had a rough start this morning.
Boy, I can't believe you actually said, you actually really believe that. You said the coffee.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You totally did.
Okay, well,
all right.
I'll go with you on that.
Okay.
So slow down was one of the best pieces of advice I got for you, because you do speed up, right? When you're having those
when
feelings.
When someone's threatened, their natural state is to speed up.
And you bypass your feelings, you bypass the conversations.
Yeah.
And
you can't hear anything and you can't see anything when you're moving so quickly. It's like if you're in the fast lane, you don't see the signs on the side of the road, right? You don't. You're just moving past them. So you miss the signs. You just use that. Let's just follow that metaphor out. You miss the signs in life if you're moving too quickly. My daughter is like, she's gotten better, but I've watched the last couple of days. She's moved really quickly, right? But she used to do it insanely and mess up everything, spill things. And she just spilled 2 things in the course of 5 minutes yesterday because she's moving so quickly. I said, honey, now you've got to clean up.
Yeah, you're adding more work.
Now you're adding more work to you, and now it's taking more time.
Well, and if you're doing it with someone else, you're creating problems with them that you have to clean up. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So
whether you're spilling something.
How well is that working? Now you've added another 10 minutes when you were speeding up. So you tell me.
versus slowing down.
And in arguments, like Jack, my son, he used to argue. I said, "Can you clean up your room?" And he would be compliant for a minute, but he wouldn't do it. Then I go, "Can you clean up your room?" Then he'd argue about cleaning up his room. And he was brilliant at distracting me, because that's what kids do. They're geniuses at literally putting your attention on a problem that's not existing. So I said, "Can you clean up your room?" And he would say, "Why are you yelling at me?" So now I'm in the conversation for yelling at him. I'm going, "I'm not yelling at you," but we now gotten off
but
the
now
room.
We're talking about it.
But now we're talking about it, so I don't have to, so he has to clean up his room. I'm like, "What are you, a fucking genius at this?" Taking me. So the point of this is that he would then spend 5 hours arguing about cleaning his room rather than 5 minutes of cleaning up his room. I said, "This is insanity. This is insanity." But, I think it was more important to have me be insane, right? than to clean up his room. It was more fun, more interesting.
Well, and people are doing that all the time in life, right?
Yes, they are.
And a lot of it could be fear, it could be shame, but anxiety drives a lot of our...
People are fighting against something and thinking they're fighting for something.
Yeah. I just wanted to have that conversation. I thought it was a really important conversation. It's helped me tremendously, and I'm just glad that we could help others, hopefully.
Yeah, I think. It certainly helped me, right, in my anxiety dramatically.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I have. Get drunk and I feel no anxiety.
Perfect.
This has been a Gradients production.